Hey, eighth graders. Hope you guys are all doing well. We're going to try to get through this together and try to be as painless as possible. Um, I know I told you not to take your social studies books home, so we're going to try it like this, where we'll go through each of these slides. There's only 4 of these slides. We'll go through each section. We'll go through a section a day, and then you will be expected to take a short Google quiz that can be found in Google Classroom. I will also post these slides in Google Classroom as well, so you can go back and use these as you want, as you feel like you need to complete the quiz. All right, so last week we talked a lot about Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, the War of 1812, and all that good stuff. Today we're moving on to James Monroe and his presidency. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through this. I've made notes for you as well, kind of like the notes we did at the beginning of the year, that I will also post in Google Classroom to kind of help you and condense all this. But we'll just go through this real quick, and then if you guys have any questions, you can always email me. All right, so we're starting off in the sectionalism in the era of good feeling. So in 1816, the Democratic Republican candidate for president, James Monroe, easily defeated the Federalist Senator Rufus King of New York. The election showed how seriously the Federalist Party had declined in popularity. Many Federalists had joined the Democratic Republican Party and voted for Monroe. Monroe was the last Revolutionary War officer to become president. He was almost 60 years old when he took office, and he had old-fashioned manners. Americans were fond of his old-fashioned ways, and in 1817 he made a goodwill tour of the country. In Boston, crowds cheered Monroe enthusiastically, and Boston newspapers expressed surprise at this warm welcome for a Democratic Republican from Virginia. After all, Boston had long been a Federalist stronghold. So basically this is saying he pretty much won with little opposition because the Federalist Party was just so unpopular at that time that no one was really going to vote for a Federalist. So in 1816, he was elected president. Okay? All right, let's get on to the next part. All right, so then here starts the era of good feelings. So Monroe hoped to create a new sense of national unity. One newspaper wrote that the United States was entering an era of good feelings. By the time Monroe ran for a second term in 1820, no candidate opposed him. The Federalist Party had disappeared. While conflict between political parties declined, disputes between different sections of the nation sharpened. I want you to really pay attention to this next sentence. These disputes were a result of sectionalism, or loyalty to one state or section rather than the nation as a whole. In Congress, 3 ambitious young men took center stage in these disputes. All 3 would play key roles in Congress for more than 30 years, as well as serving in other offices. Each represented a different section of the country, and each had unique leadership qualities. So once Monroe is elected president, he really wants to unite the nation to become one and to feel proud about being an American, okay? So in 1820, he gets the nation all excited, and everyone's really into being an American. So when he runs for a second term, no one's going up against him, okay? So essentially the Federalist Party is gone. But because the political parties are no longer opposing each other, up comes this viewpoint of sectionalism, which is, instead of being loyal to the United States as a nation, you are loyal to your own state or your own section. So there was 3, I apologize guys, there were 3 main people that took ahead of these 3 different viewpoints of sectionalism, and we'll go through those 3 people right now. So the first one is James Calhoun, and you can see his picture right here. He stood up for the South, okay? So he's representing the South sectionalism. He had grown up on a frontier farm in South Carolina. His immense energy and striking features earned him the nickname Young Hercules. So here again, you can see him, Young Hercules. Okay, representing the South, speaking for the South. He was also slim and handsome with deep set eyes, da da da. His way of speaking was so intense that sometimes it made people uncomfortable. But he had supported the War of 1812. Like a lot of other Southerners, he was a firm defender of slavery. So in general, he opposed policies that would strengthen the power of the federal government. So the main thing you need to realize about Calhoun was he comes from the South, he speaks for the South. He supported the War of 1812, he supports slavery, and he thinks that policies that would strengthen the federal government would not be good. Okay? The next section is Daniel Webster, who is, I'm sure you guys realize, the author of the dictionary. He speaks for the North, okay? So he's from New Hampshire, and he was the most skillful public speaker of his time. With his eyes flashing and shoulders thrown back, Webster was an impressive sight when he stood up to speak in Congress. An observer described him as a great cannon loaded to the lips. Like many New Englanders, Webster had opposed the War of 1812. So here's a difference between him and Calhoun. Calhoun supported the war. Webster did not support the War of 1812. He even refused to pay for taxes to pay for the war effort. After the war, he wanted the federal government to take a larger role in building the nation's economy. Unlike Calhoun, Webster thought that slavery was evil. So there's a lot of differences between Calhoun and Webster here. One, Calhoun supported the War of 1812. Webster did not. Two, Calhoun supported slavery. Webster did not. And three, Calhoun opposed policies that would make the federal government stronger. And Webster felt like the federal government should take a bigger role in building the economy. Okay? All right, and the third person we're going to talk about today is Henry Clay. So he speaks for the West. And actually, we talked a little bit about Henry Clay in the last section because he was a leader of the Warhawks. And if you remember the Warhawks, they pushed for the war against Britain in 1812. So he was born in Virginia, but he moved to Kentucky when he was 20. He was a young lawyer, and he was once fined for brawling with an opponent. He charmed both friends and rivals, and supporters called him Gallant Harry of the West. So like Webster, Clay strongly favored a more active role for the central government in promoting the country's wealth. So that's all that we'll do today for social studies as far as the slides go here. But I will want you to complete the quiz that I've put in Google Classroom. I've also linked a video to go over this era of good feelings and the beginning of Monroe's presidency. It's just a short 3-minute YouTube video. I hope you guys are all doing well. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to email me. I'm here to help you guys. We're going to get through this as best that we can. So stay healthy, and I hope to talk to you guys all soon. Have a great day.